so keep that in mind.
Yeah, hey, forget I asked.
That'll definitely
Ew.
do.
Join the Discord.
It was the least fun I've ever had playing this game.
A small but vibrant and extremely humble community.
No, I've seen the sleeves, but I'm like, you said you're suiting up, and then you put your sleeve on. Thank you for saying that.
Because I'm a demon on the keys.
Next thing I know, we're both dead. I immediately left the lobby.
In Vietnam.
What are they playing for? Are they playing to win?
Stay humble.
Stay humble.
We are live. Welcome to the Dropshot, episode number 51. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. I am once again absolutely fucking not joined by Tanner Dropshot, also known as TDS, who used to be the co-host of the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, but he just doesn't care anymore, right? He doesn't give a fuck about the Dropshot. He's off gallivanting with his wife, I don't know, taking pictures of desolate, abandoned cities across the California coast at the most unsightly locales in this great state that you can imagine. So that's where Tanner is, I guess. I don't really know where he is because I don't care, right? I don't care where he is. It doesn't matter to me. Here's what I do care about. He should be fucking here now, but he's not, once again. So fuck Tanner. His salary has been cut by 40%, in case you were wondering. So the Dropshot LLC's pockets are a little fatter, at least. But luckily, we have a fun and exciting guest on the pod. This has been somewhat in the works for quite a while, as a matter of fact. I would say maybe a month or so. And we were just trying to kind of figure out a good time to do it and all that. And joining me is Call of Duty royalty. This man's name on the internet is TarTarBits, but I refer to him as Archduke Tartar. Tar, how's it going, dude? Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. It's going well. So
good. I've got a lot of fucking questions for you, young man. But we will get there. So thank you for joining us this fine evening. I do appreciate it. And I'm very excited to talk to you and pick your brain. So we're going to get into who this guy is, why you guys should care, and then we'll get into
or not.
No, I think you should. I can make the case why you should, which I will do. But first, I have a couple small announcements to get out of the way. Tanner wrote some very flavorful notes in our Google document for this episode without my approval, by the way. Once again, salary reduced, right? So he first wrote the Dropshot vlogs incoming August 23rd to the 25th. Yeah, this is true. We're going to be going to, if I get time off, we're going to go to Big Bear from the 23rd to the 25th of August. And if that's the case, we will be making some spicy vlog content. So, I don't know. Hopefully my boss gives me the time off. So, any wage slaves in the chat? And then also, yeah, I'll reference that in a second. So, next thing, real quick, is we have a new merch store. I was verbally assaulted by a man some of you may be familiar with, the Vaping Viking. So he accosted me out of nowhere. He just slid into my DMs and said, "Hey, dumb shit, you need to do the Stream Element store thing." So that's what I've done. So if you type !shop in the chat, there are now two merch stores. The old one, and then there's a new one by Stream Elements. Basically, the Stream Elements one is largely the same, except it's got some different designs. And if you get something there, it will trigger an alert on stream. So if you want to get scammed live, use that first link, the Stream Elements store link. which we've tested and it does in fact work. And it makes me dance. I need to raise the volume on the alert, but we'll give it time. But one of the designs that is exclusive to that store, by the way, is the seminal read a book shirt. It's literally just text that says read a book in very large letters on a t-shirt. So I don't know if this is going to go well or no one gives a flying fuck. Doesn't matter. You can go fucking look at it yourself. There's different colors. Like any.
I like it.
You like it? Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I like how condescending it is. So, I'm gonna definitely be ordering one myself soon. So yeah, if you guys have other design or catchphrase ideas for apparel, let your boy know. Or better yet, join the fucking Discord, and then you can let us know there for any designs you might want to see. So. Today, once again, we're skipping iTunes reviews, but rest assured, if you left one, we will cover it next time. I'm going to waste Tanner's time with these. I'm going to punish him for once again just skipping work today. Yes, skipping work. But next time, like I said, we'll catch up on all of them. So rest assured, your review will be read if you left one on iTunes. So real quick, a couple things happened in the chat here. What do we have? Where are we? Big Daddy Dino with 100 biddies. Let's fucking go. New York Brew Crew, welcome back, dude. 500 biddies. Let's fucking go. What the fuck? You guys hear this?
Wait, what is that?
My GoXLR broke. Hold on. I gotta reset this.
Nice.
I think I accidentally recorded. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It fixed. Okay. Yeah. New York
Nice.
Brew Crew. Thank you, dude. Thanks for breaking my GoXLR, idiot bitch. But I appreciate the 500 biddies sincerely. And Pritch with 1,000 biddies. Let's fucking go. Mad lads, dude. Thank you, boys. Big Daddy Dino, NY Brew Crew, and Young Pritch, as always. Appreciate the support, boys. Thank you very much. Get scammed, read a book, join the fucking Discord. What's up, Young Douglas? How's it going, dude? Production value. I've given up myself and get drunk every night and play this shit game 3XL. I'll make that happen, Gift. Submit a design, dude. Read a fucking book. Yeah, maybe I could put that on there. So now, real quick. Hey, Doug, by the way, Doug, pay attention. This is a leak. This is a Dropshot exclusive. So fuck Modern Warzone for thinking he's the leak god. Because it's us right here, baby. So let's go. Let me show you guys this. We got a text message. Can't say more than that. So let me put it this way. A text message was sent, and it was also received, and then it crossed our desk. And here's what the text... This is a reliable source, by the way. So do you guys remember when we told you there's going to be some dumb bearskin outfit, RAR, that's going to come to Call of Duty? And then I said, clip me now, link me later. And then guess what happened? It happened. Or do you remember when we said they're going to require SMS verification to make a Warzone account? And then I said, clip me now, link me later. And then it happened, right? So this may or may not be the same source. It's possible, but it might not be, right? But anyways, here's the text message that was sent and was also received. So let's take a look. Now it's very small. I'm sorry. This is, so the person has an iPhone. There's a hint. Get an Android. It's 2020. Steve Jobs has been dead. Apple shit. So what, I'll read it for you guys. So the text message says, well, I'm sure they're working on both. Seems like they've started to be able to hone in on folks with the modded controllers. So I'm not 100% sure what the what the context was here, but it's obviously something to do with cheating. And then he continues, or she continues, or Zur continues, right? Because we don't know. We don't know any identifying details of this person. So I guess they can't really effectively deploy anti-cheat. The code that they are using is so old, they would need to completely overhaul the entire engine from scratch. This is what Doug was saying, by the way, when he was on the podcast last Saturday. He was saying there's some code in this game that's from COD 1. And this text message confirms that information, which would take millions of hours to do. Exaggerating, but with Activision, maybe it would take them millions of hours because they're dumb. They update registry keys all the time, but it's only a matter of time before the common code is identified and the keys are cracked. Don't know what any of that means. That, and they have a really small team dedicated to anti-cheat versus a large team for content. Wow! Who's surprised? Raise your hand if you're surprised. And now jump off a bridge in game, because you shouldn't be surprised by this. Hey, what makes them money? Anti-cheats? Competitive integrity? Or content? And by content, what this person means, of course, is fucking operator skins that they peddle to you in the store to make $3 million per day in microtransactions. That's what they mean by content. So there isn't actually a large team for content. There's a large team for dumb cosmetic packages that they try to sell to everyone. And there's a tiny team, really small, quote, really small team, dedicated to anti-cheat, end quote. Anyone surprised by this? Does this surprise you, Tar, assuming that this is reliable intel?
Well, I guess I'd say the only part that surprises me is that they have a small team that's dedicated to anti-cheat.
As opposed to no team at all?
As opposed to no team at all, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only part that surprises me, unfortunately. But, I mean, yeah, it's not really surprising. It's Call of Duty. I mean, to be honest, they're a company. They have to make money like any other company, especially with Warzone it being free to play. They have to try and, you know, hook people into spending those COD points to get the battle pass and to get that extra content. So it really makes sense from a business standpoint, and hell, I mean, I would be doing the same thing. But it is really just frustrating for those of us who play the game a lot, who would really like to see cheaters being dealt with, and not in a way that good players like TGD get shadow banned.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. By the way, Doug, yes, this is the leak. Hey, I was joking, dude. Don't poo-poo my leaking caliber, okay? Don't poo-poo it. What's up, 50th try? Welcome. Why do you have a founder's badge, dude? What did you name change from, brother? No, I don't remember you, as a matter of fact, at all. What was your name in game? You must be from SWTOR. Welcome, dude. And fucking relax, dude. I'm hosting the hottest up and coming podcast in gaming. I can't attend to chat every 2 seconds, especially when I'm exposing this. I'm blowing it wide open. Call me fucking Project Veritas. So anyways, one more little detail here. Doug, I was kidding, dude. Yeah, Doug, I was totally joking, bro. Relax. I hope you didn't think I was serious. I was obviously joking. Damn, sorry, dude. I really didn't. I was totally joking. I thought that was obvious, dude. My bad. But anyways, this person also said, quote, "This season is going to be huge and really good," referring to season 5. "And it will be the biggest content drop ever by far in this game." Do you believe that, Tar?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, just because there's been so many different things that have been hinted at, and I mean, I think Doug even had something to do with leaking the R700. Maybe I can't confirm that. Doug's in the chat; he can say what he will.
Yeah.
But there are several other guns that have been rumored to be released: Intervention, R700, AN94, a couple other things. It would be nice, I guess. Also, way too late.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people who have kind of A, ticked down their hours, or B, just quit this game entirely. And granted, some of those people just play multiplayer anyway, and they wouldn't really care that much about new guns. Syrian, Nate, others.
Yeah.
But I mean, for all the people who are making regular YouTube content and streaming Warzone, it would have been nice to have just kind of a varied schedule of, hey, 2 weeks later we get a new gun, another month we get another new gun.
Yeah.
Halfway through the season pass, get a surprise gun. That would be nice. It's been really inconsistent, and honestly, the last couple seasons have been pretty dry. Other than hey, we added
Dry
a
is a
Bruin.
word. Yeah.
It's the best gun in the game,
I know.
but nobody figured it out for a month.
Yeah, true, actually.
Yep. I don't know why anybody's surprised. That's just a side note, but basically every Call of Duty ever, and they do this for a reason, the DLC guns, at least one of them, is always OP. It's just the way it is. The reason they do that is because, A, it drums up more people buying microtransactions, skins for that gun,
Yes.
etc. It's just a money grab. It is what it is. It shouldn't be surprising to anyone.
Yeah, it's so obvious. I agree. That's why I was really surprised the Vector is shit. Because I thought for that exact reason that the Vector was going to be fucking disgusting. But it's terrible.
Yeah, Rev knows. He's Black Ops 3 days. That was even more pay to win, by the way.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Oh, by far. The way the system worked in that game, it was just, whew,
that doesn't surprise me, because even BO4 was super pay to win. Javelina, Vendetta pre-nerf. There were others that I can't think of at the moment. But oh, the Switchblade. Jesus Christ, the Switchblade.
Yeah.
Fucking yikes, dude. So anyways, so the season's gonna be huge and really good. So the thing that you were saying about, like, it would be nice, and I do still play the game, but I feel like no matter how big of a content drop they have, I feel like it's for people who have quit. The reason they quit, like, lack of content is only, like, orthogonally related to why they quit. Because if I were to quit this shit game, it wouldn't be because of a lack of content. Now, the lack of content is, not great, obviously. It's not even the lack of content, it's just the shit timetable of content. But that's not great. But if I were to quit, I would quit because Ground War is now ruined because I get Promenade 80% of the time, which is a terrible map. The maps outside of Promenade are fucking awful anyways. The visibility is trash. The sprint out time is trash. There's no working anti-cheat, so every hour you play, you'll see one cheater. Skill-based matchmaking. I could go on. Those are the reasons I would cheat, and none of those have to do with content. So I'm not sure if content would ever bring me back, but I'm sure that there is a population of players who would be enticed to come back for sure.
I think I was more referring to kind of the Warzone content creators and even maybe the sniping community.
True.
Kind of the more, I don't know, the YouTube controller Warzone group. A lot of those people who base their content around COD, and those people are the ones complaining about lack of content, and I understand it. But like you're saying, if I were to quit this game, which in fact I uninstalled it a few days ago and reinstalled it just for today, but honestly, like, it's because of a laundry list of other issues with the game. So that's just a minor detail. And honestly, like, I can't even complain that much about the content in this game, mostly because they did the battle pass pretty well, as far as you buy into it once and then you'll make enough COD points to be able to continuously renew it. And so far, nothing actually pay to win has been in the drops that you can only get by buying, unless you complain about bullet tracers being purple or red. That's the only legitimately pay to win complaint that you can have. Everything else is available. Even if you don't buy the battle pass, you can still get the new weapons. It's just you have to put in a little more grind time, and it's a little harder. But that's honestly an improvement. So as far as that goes, good job, Infinity Ward. But you fucked up so many other things that I don't even care about that anymore.
For sure. So, what was I gonna say? Agreed. I do sympathize in some small way with the content creator dilemma. Agreed, for sure. Because all these guys are just like, dude, what are we doing? It's like they get all this content at once, this torrent of content, and they're like struggling to put out videos faster than each other. And then there's nothing for fucking 3 months. It's like, it's so dumb. So anyways, if you guys were listening for the jingle on your favorite podcast app, first rate us 5 stars. Second, here it is. All right. Viking, welcome. 50th. Take it easy, dude. Yeah, that's a big dick badge, Viking. It's for cheering too many bits in a chat. So get scammed. And thank you for the purchase. By the way, Viking, I took your advice. You bullied me into it, which I mentioned. So if you re-listen to this episode, I need to set it up so that I get emails so that I can shout people out for that. But I've notated that. But I appreciate it, Viking. And if anyone else bought merch and I didn't see it, get scammed. So now, I wanted to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Get shit on, Tanner. So, introduction. So once again, we are here. If you skipped the intro, we are here joined by very special guest, TarTarBits. Now, most of you listening probably have not heard of this man, but some of you certainly have. He is, well, he's a god king, right? He's a god king, and he is the only person. I do. I'm the authority. Okay. He's the only person in the Discord who is assigned the role of Call of Duty royalty. And that is for many good reasons, which we're going to get into. But first, I want to start this conversation by showing everyone in chat some good old statistics, some data, because I'm a data-driven kind of guy. So I always talk about Tanner, how good he is, all that, his lifetime KD, and all that stuff, right? Tanner, I think, is like 2.1 or something. Really fucking good at this game. And you guys have seen Tanner play, so you know what a 2.1 KD player, or whatever the fuck Tanner is, looks like. And now we're going to take a look, class, if you can direct your attention to the screen. This is our guest's fucking analytics, dude. I'm all about the analytics. Rate us 5 stars on iTunes. And here is young TarTarBits. You can spam him with friend requests if you like. Get doxxed. And here is his lifetime kill death ratio, which is in multiplayer is 2.18. So what does that mean? If you're listening, he's better than all of you. He's much better than all of you. Okay. So I just wanted to do that little appeal to authority there, because it now that you know he's better than you, listener, you should take all of the answers to the questions I'm going to have for him. Take him at his word. He knows what he's talking about. And we're going to get more into his background and stuff, but he's a very good player. And again, as I've said, if you guys have ever watched Tanner's stream, this guy is right there. A little better, in fact, by the stats. So fucking keep that in mind. Tanner, again, get shit on. You're dog shit, is what I'm saying. You part-time employee scum fuck. So what was I going to ask? So I originally saw TarTarBits. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask this. Okay, we're starting here, bitch. Call me Keemstar. We're starting here. I originally saw TarTarBits. As you guys know, my first Call of Duty game on PC was Black Ops 4 on PC. Very small community. Now, I don't know this story.
Coming.
Yeah, it's coming. I don't know this story, but we're going to fucking learn today. So, I remember first seeing Tartar in that game. I saw PC community. It was not crossplay. So, the PC BO4 multiplayer community, 6 months after the game launched, was not large, right? It was very small. So, everyone who played BO4 on PC, I know who you are. And Tar was one of those people. So I remember the name from that, whatever. And then as I started playing more, I started like finding streamers who played PC multiplayer on Black Ops 4. So that's how I found Syrian. I played against him on Summit. Did not have a great time, by the way. If you've seen Syrian stream, you can guess why. I played against Nate Gibson on Grind. Did not have a great time, by the way. And if you've seen his stream, you can guess why. And so, yeah, I just knew kind of everyone. So, but then when I was looking for streamers to try and improve, and I referenced this method on a previous episode of the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, one of my biggest, pieces of advice was to watch people who are much better than you stream, because there are plenty, trust me. And Nate Gibson was one of them. And then I remember seeing a guy who was modded in his chat and who would like play with him. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. So besides getting shit on by this guy, TarTarBits, in game, and then also seeing he was like, apparently good enough to play with Nate Gibson. And then I watched him stream himself, and he was good enough in his own right. But that's how I kind of came upon him. And then later on, he found the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, and became a religious listener, of course, because our content is fantastic. And he told me a little story, or he started to tell me a little story about how he hated me or something. And then our very own Cubus told him to simmer down and that I'm a nice guy. So what was I using Crash ComSec or something? What? Tell me the story, dude. Give me the deets. Go hard, dude. Go hard.
Go hard. Okay. I mean, well, like he said, stage is set. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 on PC. There are not a lot of players, right? Player base is very small. You kind of remember who you're running into. I, in fact, at that point lived out on the West Coast, or in Idaho, at least not quite West Coast, but close enough. So being that, we were always in the same lobbies. So as good players are wont to do, they'll complain when they play against other good players who challenge them. So playing against Raz and his stack, which was sometimes Raz and I don't remember all the names. Often it was 2 to 4 people.
It was usually 3, I think. It was me, Tanner.
Gotcha. Yep.
It was me, Tanner, 54, and then we would play with I don't know what his name was in BO4. It was either UAV, Itchy Eyes 05, or Drone. I think it was Drone, maybe.
Gotcha. Maybe.
But
I don't remember.
Anyways, yeah, we rolled deep, which is super not great. Because in BO4, this wasn't fucking ground war, dude. It was 6s. So if you had a 3-man like stack or a 4-man, then you're like super advantaged. So anyway, go on.
Yeah, honestly, well, here's the reason why it was frustrating and why my initial impression was rather antagonistic, is mostly because the way Black Ops 4 worked, it's not a kill-based system to get your streaks, it's score-based.
Oh, it certainly isn't, yeah.
With the EKIA system, which is, I don't even remember what it stands for, but
enemy killed in action.
So yeah, enemy killed in action. So you would get basically a kill, quote unquote, if you did basically any damage to an enemy and they died before they were able to fully heal. So you could rack up massive streaks just by getting 4 or 5 kills and playing smart and carefully around the map. Which, I mean, if you're in a stack, honestly, you don't even have to play that smart and carefully. If you're just running with your stack,
correct,
you're going to get streaks.
Absolutely correct.
The streaks in that game were almost uncounterable. The Thresher, there were only a few ways to consistently shoot it down, and they required classes specifically tailored to shoot it down.
Yes.
And it was very easy to get those.
Dude, you sound like me. I fucking hated Black Ops 4 for all of these reasons.
Exactly. So honestly, I don't really think that it was really any personal animosity. It was mostly just, oh my God, I've got to actually get my streaks first or I'm just losing this game. Yeah. That was kind of how it was. It was like, it didn't matter what I did. And I often ran solo. I did play, obviously I played with Nate a few times, played with Kenny, played with my good buddy Marth, who, shout out to him. He's actually the guy who introduced me to TBNR Kenworth and Casper and by extension, Nate Gibson and all these kind of big name streamers. So it was kind of, honestly, like not that long before this all happened in Black Ops 4, I just was a fan of all those guys too. But through Marth, who's a good buddy of mine, played with him way back in the day, and against him too. Just kind of, Marth is a good friend of Casper. Casper's a pro player for Team Liquid.
Oh,
Casper plays with Kenny. Kenny plays with Nate. Kind of just the ball started rolling, and I guess I was a decent enough guy, good enough player to keep up with those guys, and not an asshole to play with apparently. So they didn't mind playing with me. So I'm, blessed to be able to play with those guys. They're nuts. They're insane. Cracked on the keys. So it was fun. That's kind of how I got to know those guys. And honestly, as far as getting back to Raz's question, that was it. You know, it was just annoying to play against them. Every time I saw him in the lobby, I was just like, oh, come on. So I probably raged at one point against them. And I think Cubus was in my chat at that point, and Cubus was like, bro, Raz is cool. You should check him out. He streams. And I was like, oh, he streams. So at that point, I think I followed you, which was, I don't know when. I can check. Let me type something in chat.
Yeah, like a year ago or something.
Yeah. So at that point, I followed you. Yeah, in October of 2019. And then, yeah, there you go.
That's
Found
funny.
out you did a podcast a few months ago and caught up with a few episodes, and here we are.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's funny, dude. What's up, Kaylee? Welcome. Pritch, you're modded now, so figure it out. We'll take up the sword, take up your mantle, your rightful destiny. That's funny. By the way, I was kidding. I'm sure I knew it was going to be something like not, you know.
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, for sure.
So
Yep.
what I was wondering, I thought you and Cubus might be like friends or something, and I was like, oh, that's cool, because I didn't know that. Because I've never like played with Cubus, but I hop into his stream a lot. He hops into mine, so we chat parasocially that way. So I was like, oh, I didn't know you and Cubus were friends, but now hearing the story, that makes sense. That's pretty funny. And yes, everything you said about Black Ops 4, dude, I have a YouTube. Look at the show notes, and I've also conveniently linked it for you in the chat. I have a 3-video series on Black Ops 4, a year in review, and it is heavily edited, by the way. So there's no like spaces. It's not just me talking like this podcast. It's me recording myself talking and then cutting out all the gaps. And the bad review section is still 1 hour and 30 minutes of heavily edited critiques of that shit game. I fucking hated Black Ops 4, and the 2 reasons you mentioned are not least among them. You could do so 150 health, right? You could do less than 1% damage to someone's total health, and then you get full credit for the kill.
Yep.
Actually, so you could play like a pussy with a Cordite FMJ2 with extended mags, spraying at everything. Oh, I got a tag. Hopefully he dies, and then I'll get full credit as if I fucking did dick all. And then I'll call in my Thresher, which is impossible to kill, and the game is over. Because by the time the Thresher's gone, I will have earned my next Thresher, because no one else is getting a streak on the enemy team if we have a Thresher in the air. And the snowball just continues till the game's over. I fucking hated that game. So I totally understand your frustration. I just wanted to ask you about that because that was a funny comment, and I wanted to get the backstory. So, anyways, how long have you been? How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Okay. How long have you been gaming it up on the personal computer?
Oh my. So it's first game I played ever was like Age of Empires 2 when I was like 6 years old. Now that's a classic game. If you haven't tried it out, try it. It's an RTS. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It was made in like 1999. Still playable. That's beside the point. Call of Duty is what we're about, right? Here on the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast.
Correct. Yeah.
So, the first Call of Duty I played was Call of Duty 4. I'm proud to say I've never played Call of Duty on console.
What
started right off the get-go on a PC.
Bless up, dude. Was that your first FPS though, or was it even your first shooter?
It was my first. Honestly, like I'm not kidding. As far as that being like my second game, period.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like I grew up a pretty conservative house. We didn't really watch movies that much. Almost didn't play games. We had a 30-minute time limit on the computer, so I could play Call of Duty 4 for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Unless I convinced my dad to get on and play with me and my brothers, which we did a few times. And that was a hell of a lot of fun. So we'd have local LANs in our house playing against my dad. That was a lot of fun. So
did your dad
my roots in Call of
you
Duty.
in game?
He would have had to have killed me to teabag me.
Oh shit!
Shots fired.
Shit on, dude. It's shit on Papa Tartar.
I love my dad. I'll just say FPSs are probably not his thing. Which is understandable. Yeah. But anyway, so COD 4 played a fair amount in my 30 minutes a day. You know, possibly extended if my dad was feeling generous.
Right.
So played a lot of that. Probably put over 1,000 hours into Call of Duty 4, the original Modern Warfare. At that time, I was I was in school and just kind of doing life. Didn't game that much. Like I said, 30 minutes a day. So I didn't play MW2 that much when it came out. A, because we didn't really have a computer that played it that well. and B, because I was just busy with other things. I was playing baseball religiously at that point. I was on 3 or 4 separate teams every summer, traveling, also playing piano. So my life was pretty busy, so I didn't have a lot of time for games at that point. The next Call of Duty that I really got into was Modern Warfare 3. And once again, played Modern Warfare 3 on PC and had a good time. At this point, I was not that great of a player back then. I just kind of messed around and had fun. Just run and gun like crazy. I had zero concept of game sense and map awareness, anything like that. I literally just ran towards people and shot them, which worked pretty well in Modern Warfare 3, especially if you get specialist bonus. So did get a few nukes here and there, but I was by no means a incredible player. It wasn't really until Ghosts, honestly, that I started playing a lot and got a lot better.
I wish I had played those Ghosts. Or those like Call of Duties in the middle, because I played like MW3 and I didn't play again until BO4. So all that shit in the middle.
Missed a couple good ones.
Yeah.
So Black Ops 2 is the one that I really regret missing, because in hindsight, that probably would have been my favorite Call of Duty, judging by a lot of the people that I know and talk to. Just the gameplay, I've played it a tiny bit since then, and it was fun, but obviously the game's so dead at this point that you just run into cheaters a lot.
Yeah.
But didn't really play Black Ops 2. Like I said, it was one of those times in my life where I just wasn't gaming. So got back into it with Ghosts, played the hell out of Ghosts and Advanced Warfare, and I actually really enjoyed both those games. Ghosts had its issues. At launch, it was extremely buggy and problematic, so it turned a lot of people off. They preemptively labeled it the worst Call of Duty of all time, which, while it had its issues, I don't think it's quite that far down. Modern Warfare is significantly farther, in my opinion. Advanced Warfare, I really wish it was still alive, because that is the best Call of Duty game, in my opinion. Just because of the frenetic pace and the high level of tracking it took. It made it a real challenge just to get a kill. There was pretty strict skill-based matchmaking in that game as well, which made it, honestly, it was kind of fun. Because of the advanced movement and the skill-based matchmaking, you were playing people who were moving a lot, and it was a real challenge to keep up. So I enjoyed that.
I have to ask, how were the maps? How was it, like largely 3-lane map designs, or?
Okay, so the maps were interesting. Some of them were. It was mostly kind of 3-lane maps. It was also the first Sledgehammer Call of Duty. And Dr. Disrespect actually designed personally a few of the levels. One of which was, I believe, Solar, which was one of my favorite maps. Yeah, F's in the chat. Oh wait, can I even mention him on some Twitch?
Oh shit, yeah. TOS, dude, TOS.
TOS. Oh no. So the maps were good in general. There was a lot of verticality, but you could get anywhere very quickly because of the dashing and the advanced movement. So that was fun. That was my favorite Call of Duty still of all time. So it was at that point that I was playing enough to really start paying attention to getting better, because I was getting annoyed every time I'd run into someone like Marth of Doom or Counter MFD or Nate Gibson in those older games, or Syrian, which even from Australia, I would run into him occasionally in Advanced Warfare, and boy, would I get my shit kicked in.
That's some strict skill-based matchmaking, if that's true.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, it was also, it's PC, and the game it died really quickly because a lot of people didn't like that it wasn't boots on the ground, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, so that's kind of, I would say, from Ghosts to Modern Warfare, I improved the most, and then, or not Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare. And then from there, I kind of, I feel like my aim's pretty decent, so I just kind of pick up whatever's going on and try and get good at it, like anybody else.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you what your favorite COD is, but Advanced Warfare is your answer. Okay.
Answered that. Yep.
Yeah. So, it's funny that you didn't play BO2, because I played BO2, and that's like... Dude, that's like top 2 for me, too. I feel like everyone who played BO2 fucking loved that game, and I'm one of them for sure. But, yeah, I wish I had played Advanced Warfare so I could evaluate your rating of it as number 1.
Honestly, I understand why people didn't like it. But it was just, like I said, I like to rush. I like to be aggressive. That's kind of what COD does for me.
Yes.
Kind of in between. Actually, when Black Ops 3 came out, I wasn't able to play Black Ops 3. And so I played CSGO religiously for the next 2 years. And playing CSGO is such a change of pace. But it really helped me improve in a couple specific aspects of the game. One of which was crosshair placement. I'd never thought about crosshair placement at all before I played CSGO. And it's not as important in Call of Duty, to be honest. But what I mean when I'm talking about crosshair placement is where you're looking when you're not engaging an enemy. So when you're just navigating the map, Where are you looking? A lot of people, myself included, you kind of just tend to look down. And there is a reason for that. The reason is most games have a gun model. And your player model and your gun model will get in the way a little bit if it's up in the middle of your screen. Now, however, once you learn maps and kind of know where to expect people, it's better to have your crosshair, for Call of Duty, I would say chest level. Because if someone crouches that way, you're still getting a headshot. Whereas, otherwise you're on target right away. That's the advantage. A lot of people look down to the extent that when you round a corner and an enemy's in front of you, you have to aim up and then directionally, laterally, side to side to aim on target. So that's something that if you're really looking at your own gameplay, look at where your crosshair is. Look at where your mouse is or your controller when you don't see an enemy. And make sure that A, you're trying to point it at the most likely angle based on your mini-map, where your teammates are, etc. And B, try and make sure that you're going to be upper chest if they do round that corner. For CSGO, you want that to be head level because so many of the guns in that game can one-tap. So that was what really helped me with that, CSGO. And also just being aware of your surroundings, because in CSGO, so much of the gameplay is based on rotations and timing and understanding how to read the minimap and where your teammates are. And those skills carry over to any first-person shooter, specifically ones that have the minimap, which Call of Duty does, although they butchered it this year.
Usually. Yeah.
Screw you, MW.
Yeah, agreed. Dude, this is exactly the kind of content I was hoping for, so that's fantastic. Yeah, if you guys have watched the Dropshot gameplay breakdowns, which can be conveniently found at the YouTube linked in the chat or in the show notes, we actually talked about this on the last one. Specifically, Tanner brought it up, and then I piggybacked on it, because that's something I don't really think about that much, but like Tanner was saying, we were doing the gameplay breakdown, we're critiquing this guy, because he was doing exactly what you just said, Tar. Like, he was running around and his crosshairs were just kind of like at dick level. And Tanner was like, hey, let's raise those crosshairs. Like when you're just like, looking at a corner or whatever. So that's perfect. And I'm not surprised. This is why I'm not a 2+ KD player, because I wouldn't have thought of that. And Tanner and Tar do. So fantastic. Okay. So my next question.
Fire away.
How do you feel about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 Game of the Year edition?
Oh, where to start? Right off the bat, I would say I'll be as generous as I can, okay? Fuck Modern Warfare. It's the worst Call of Duty of all time. You should never play it.
Do you think it's worse than BO4?
I do. I significantly,
struggle with
and I'll
this
give you
so hard, dude.
Yeah.
Because they're both so bad, but for like way different reasons. But go ahead.
All right. So the reasons there are some better reasons to like Black Ops 4 than there are Modern Warfare. That's why I would say it's worse. Black Ops 4, in my opinion, I like the higher health. I think that requires you to stay on target for longer, which is a good thing. Higher skilled players will improve because of that. I mean, if you peek a corner in Modern Warfare and there's 3 people staring at you, you're just dead. If you peek a corner in Black Ops 4 and there's 3 people staring at you, because of the 150 health, there's at least a chance that you'll be able to dash back out of cover and then engage them one at a time and heal between gunfights. So like the higher health helps a little bit in that regard. And that's a plus in the Black Ops 4 column. And then 2 is the movement. The movement in Black Ops 4, while not being significantly different, was just in general smoother, specifically going in and out of sliding, way smoother and better done. I mean, Modern Warfare, I played the beta religiously. Basically every hour the beta was out, I was either sleeping, eating, or playing, or eating and playing at the same time. But anyway, COD degenerates for you. What am I going to do?
Well, listen, everyone listening to a Call of Duty podcast is in the same category. So.
Yeah, yep, for sure. So like I was saying with Modern Warfare, though, like in the beta, there's the slide bug, which if you slide near any sort of elevated surface, anything that's not completely flat ground, or that happen to slide next to a box sometimes even triggers this, you will not be able to look up, to move your crosshair up from where it's at for like a full second. It's ridiculous. It's been in the game since beta. They haven't patched it, haven't fixed it. At this point, it makes me wonder if it's intentional to nerf people who move more. Honestly, like that's how dumb it is. That's how poorly made this game is that I'll even question that could be a possibility.
Right.
So that's another issue where Modern Warfare is just so far behind Black Ops 4, because at least in Black Ops 4, the movement worked. It was fun. It was fluid. It wasn't crazy. So the people who didn't like Advanced Warfare would probably still like the movement in Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
But it enabled you to move around the map without feeling like, holy crap, what is all this weapon bob, and why am I sliding into stuff and not being able to aim properly? Like Modern Warfare, I took a break from a week, literally last week. Took a break, played other games. I came back to the game, and my first kind of anecdote, I got into game, I selected a class, I started sprinting forward, and I realized this game is dog shit. Like it's literally that bad.
Yes.
Like just moving around the map triggers me to no end in this game. So it's frustrating because they've made so many design choices for whatever realism, I guess, that nobody wants. Nobody plays Call of Duty for realism. Like, this is not a milsim shooter. Don't make it into one.
Dude, I sympathize with everything you're saying so hard.
Yeah. So that's why for me, I don't know. Modern Warfare is just not fun, specifically in multiplayer. I will say Warzone was a great idea. They should have done it with Blackout because Blackout was a much better game. But it's, as far as BRs go, it's middle of the pack. It's not terrible. It's not the best BR out there by any means. But there is some fun to be had. Most of my issues with Warzone in particular are due to the player base and balancing issues. So those are kind of separate issues in my mind. Balancing is, on the devs, but the player base really isn't on the devs. If half of your people choose to go in a building and just sit there with rocket launchers, I mean, part of that is on the devs for making that possible. Part of that is also on everybody for just being a stupid piece of shit.
That's where I have to disagree with you. Look, dude, everyone who plays multiplayer games is a piece of shit. You just have to go in with this assumption that whatever strategy you design to be the most easy and effective way to get wins is what people are going to do. So if you make RPGs able to one-tap 3 people in an AoE cone of 45 meters, that's what people are going to do. And if you're going to design a map with more per square inch, there are more buildings than not really, but it feels that way. There's way too many buildings in this shit game. So
yep.
I do hate players who do that, but it's all on the devs, in my opinion. Like if we made Warzone on like a PUBG map, I think the game would be literally like 3 times better. Like my biggest issue with Warzone is 100% the map. Too many fucking buildings. Way too many buildings.
I agree with you there. Yeah. Yep. But I guess what I mean is more like the gameplay itself of Warzone. It works a little bit better. Gunplay in general works a little bit better in Warzone than it does in multiplayer. There's just way too many guns that are brain dead easy in multiplayer, and you can situationally avoid those in Warzone.
Yes.
I mean, MP5, for example. MP5 in Warzone is broken, but if you just don't push buildings or push into scenarios where you'll be within 20 meters of the enemy, it's almost entirely ineffective. And that you have that option in Warzone. You don't have that option in multiplayer.
Exactly. That's such a good point. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a kind of a toss-up. I have enjoyed Warzone more than multiplayer by far. But does that mean it's significantly better than multiplayer? I would say it's a little bit better.
I feel you 100% on that, because the dog shit design, like I agree with you 100%. And here's my perfect example to illustrate this point. Sprint out time in this game, I fucking hate it, and it's way too slow. And in multiplayer, that's a huge issue because it's multiplayer and it's way closer quarters. But in Warzone, even though the sprint out time is exactly the same in Warzone as it is in multiplayer, it's way less of an issue because like you said, you can choose to play in a way where you're not going to be required to have fast sprint out time. In fact, you seldom will in Warzone. So that's a great point, and I agree with you 1,000%. Real quick, let me turn my attention to the fucking chat here. What do we have? I don't even know what I missed, but we're just gonna go back here. Czar with the 1,050 biddies. Let's fucking go. And the 5 gifty boys. Let's fucking go. Mulletproof 500 bits. Jesus Christ, you guys are going ham, dude. Thank you, boys.
Gonna wear out the air horn.
Yeah, the air horn. Yeah, dude, the air horn's almost out of air, as it were. Mullet 1,000 more bits. Jesus Christ. Segment 3 says, Sorry I'm late after he gave 10 gifted subs. Let's fucking go. Jesus Christ, dude. God damn. 1,500 biddies and Pritch with the 200 biddies. Jesus, dude. Boys, thank you so much. Pritch, segment, Jesus Christ. Too much. Much appreciated. Get scammed. I appreciate the support a lot, dude. A lot of bits, a lot of gifty boys. Welcome, segment. I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate all that support, dude. Pritch as well. Thank you, brother. Mullet-proof mute hasn't said one fucking thing. One single solitary thing that I've seen in this chat. But he's given me lots of bits. Thanks. Get scammed. Czar, 1,050 bits. Thank you, dude. And the 5 gifted subs, and Mullet again for the 500 bits, dude. I appreciate it so much, boys. Very much thank you. Honored, humbled, and privileged. Segment with the 10 more gifted subs. Jesus, dude. The mad fucking lad. Damn, got scammed. True, dude. Segment, thank you so much, dude. Jesus, 20 gifted subs. Chill, bro. This guy's on the leaderboard for the... I think it's the new month, dude. That's what I think it is. I think people are jockeying for position in the little Twitch chat thing. But
should just make it the new month every day.
I know,
Easy
right?
dub.
Do it daily. Yeah, you actually could do that too. So scummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get yeah. So any sellouts in the chat? Segment.
Just actually scammed.
Actually scammed. Segment, dude. I appreciate you, man. Segment, Mullet, Pritch, all you boys, much love, much appreciated. Thank you very much. Yeah, if I don't shout you guys out right away, by the way, I'm fucking balls deep in this conversation with Tar because he's an actual good player who's validating almost all of my opinions, and it's fantastic. So my dick's hard. So let me ask my next question here. So I agree with you about MDub 2019. I'm not sure it's worse than BO4, but it's super close for me. It's super close. If BO4 didn't have operators, the decision would be super easy for me. But I hate operators not only in principle, but also in practice. It's super offensive to me in principle that you're going to have MOBA abilities in a fucking first-person shooter. So I'm already mad right out of the gate, having never played the game. But then when you play the game, it's just as bad as you thought. They're so dumb. You're at a 25 kill streak and you get Seeker Mind and you're dead. And what did the Prophet do to earn the Seeker Mind? Did he get a 4 kill streak? No. He just let the timer run out because everyone gets all their abilities, including their ultimate, for doing dick all and just existing. So you can go 0-20 as battery, and then you get your war machine, and then you cross map fucking noob tube me on my 29 kill streak, and my streak's over. You didn't earn your noob tube. You're 0-20. You're the worst player I've ever seen, but you still fucked my ass. I hate operators so much. But when I was playing Modern Warfare, I was like, oh, this game is for sure worse than Black Ops 4. And then I went back and played Black Ops 4, and I played against some dickhead who was using equipment charge Spectre smoke grenades. Or not smoke grenades. That smoke grenades is his equipment, so I guess he was using smoke grenades. And then I remembered, oh, this game's terrible also. Because he just kept fucking slicing me up. And lunging like actually 15 meters with his auto lock dumb thing. They're both awful, but interesting that you feel that way. And I don't fault you for having that opinion because I might share it. It's honestly a toss up for which game is worse.
Yeah, I think for me, like, obviously I 100% agree on the operators in Black Ops 4, which, I mean, that's old news, but
yeah,
I really don't like you said, the hero-based abilities in a shooter. It's just dumb. And especially not having it even based on score. Like, it is roughly like you can accelerate it if you do well. Yes. But just based on doing nothing at all, you can get your alts and completely scam people, which is ridiculous.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, but like I said, like, there are so many things about Modern Warfare that are worse than Black Ops 4, so that the one thing that is a massive issue, specifically combined with the EKA system. I mean, let's play out a scenario here real quick to explain exactly why BO4 is so much cancer. You start a game.
Okay.
You sit in the back of the map. You tag a few people with your Cordite double FMJ. You get the equivalent of 4 or 5 kills. Okay, you're at like 1 or 2 kills away from your full streak at this point. Now, at this point, your Seeker Mine kicks in. So you use your Seeker Mine. Your Seeker Mine goes around the corner, locks onto a guy. He's stuck there, frozen in time, unless he happens to time it perfectly. Even if he doesn't, he's still stuck for like a full second before he can do anything. You kill him, you get your first streak. You call in your first streak. Your first streak tags into your second streak. You get your second streak. Next thing you know, you've got your ult, your profit, right? Okay, shoot one guy with it, chains to 3 people behind him, you get 4 kills. Next thing you know, without having done almost anything that requires any skill at all, you've got 2 full sets of streaks, and the game's over for the other team.
It's so
And you
cheesy.
didn't move around the map. You didn't do anything that required any skill at all, other than aiming your profit at someone and hitting them, which didn't take much skill because the hit rate on that thing was fucking busted.
Yes.
So, like, that's the real issue, is the combination of the EKIA system and the operators made it really, really cancer to play.
I agree.
But that aside, the maps were really good in general. There were a couple bad ones.
True.
But compare them to Modern Warfare. I mean, I would rather play Arsenal Shitstorm all day long than any of the maps
true.
in Modern Warfare.
And that map
I mean,
was
seriously,
so bad, so that's saying so much.
it's so bad.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen that map, literally go Google it. Go watch a YouTube video about that map. It's terrible. You can't see anything, but you can still see more than Modern Warfare.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
I think if you Google Arsenal Shitstorm, you'll actually get the correct map, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
It's Sandstorm, I think is what it's actually called, but I'd never called it that.
Yes.
So, yeah, you make a good point. Operators do make the game really frustrating to play, but there's enough of a good game beneath that where there isn't for Modern Warfare.
Yes.
Like I said, with the movement, the maps, the visibility, those are all huge improvements from Black Ops 4 to Modern Warfare.
Agreed.
Or like huge improvements opposite. They were better in Black Ops 4. They were not better in Modern Warfare.
Right.
So that is my total opinion on that.
Yeah. Agreed. 1,000%. The perfect illustration of this, by the way, I have a YouTube video when I was playing Black Ops 4 and doing videos of this kind. I went like 99-2 on Nuketown, Nuketown Hardpoint. And I had, so the hardpoint went to underneath one of the 2 houses. I was playing as Firebreak with Flak Jacket. Guess what I did? I went upstairs. I pressed a button, Radiate, and I went from no points to all 3 of my streaks, which were Mantis, Nest, Thresher. This is a YouTube video. You guys can go to my YouTube channel and look this up. I specifically point this out and I pause it. I think it's 1,450 points from pressing 1 button. That I didn't earn, by the way. Operator abilities. So dumb.
Yep.
So dumb. Anyways, yes. So, okay. So my next question here is skill-based matchmaking. It's interesting that it existed in Advanced Warfare. I didn't know that. With that said, that's not going to play into this too much. So I'll put it this way. So I'm like 93rd percentile by overall KD. You're over 99th. Do you think there are enough players to where you're in a different skill-based matchmaking bracket than I am? Or do you or do you think the skill-based matchmaking is stricter than that to where we wouldn't be in the same bracket? Or would we be in the same bracket? And then another way for me to phrase the same question is, how often are you the best player in the average sixes game in Modern Warfare? Because of skill-based matchmaking. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, touching on the best player thing, first of all, I think it's pretty hard to make that claim just because there are so many things that go into being better than another person.
Let me rephrase
it would be hard for me to kind of say that about anybody, to be honest.
Okay, I'll say, how often at the end of a sixes game do you perform the best out of everyone else in the lobby?
Gotcha. All right, that's a better question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't play sixes super often. I play mostly 10v10. But when I do play sixes, I would say pretty much every game, if I am not working on challenges, I'll be at the top of my team. Yeah. And honestly, it depends. If I get a totally trash team and I'm trying to carry them the entire game, there'll be people on the other team who do better, which happens a lot. But I mean, most of the time, if I'm really playing the game using a good weapon, not grinding for challenges, which unfortunately has been most of my gameplay experience in Modern Warfare, then I'll be in the top of my team, which, I mean, I don't think it's that hard to do. As far as the skill-based matchmaking goes, I don't actually think it's as strict as a lot of people think it is in this game.
Interesting.
It is problematic. It is still problematic. It's obviously problematic. I mean, you look at, TGD, for example, with the whole shadow banning thing. That's just an example of the outliers of skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah.
But I haven't hit that bracket almost ever. The other day, I actually sat in queue for literally 20 minutes, and the queue said like 350 milliseconds ping, and I was like, oh crap, what happened? But I restarted my game, and it put me right back in a normal lobby.
To be clear,
wasn't too worried.
Yeah. The shadow banning lobby is different than the highest skill-based bracket that has cheaters who haven't been shadow banned yet.
Also true. Yeah.
So
now I'll say, to me, one of the guys I play with a lot is convinced that there's only 2 brackets. And I don't think he's quite correct, but I think there's some truth to what he's saying. And the reason he says that is...
I think
you
your
might
friend
be right.
is dumb, so just tell him. Hey, clip this and send it to him. Go on.
Okay. No, his point is every single lobby, there are complete bots in his team, on the other team. More often than not, mostly on his team. And he's literally a 5 or 6 KD player in Warzone and a 4 KD player in multiplayer.
Oh, wow. Okay. Got it.
So now, is it possible that he's just so far ahead that they literally can't populate lobbies? It is possible, but here's the other thing. I mean, he's literally, I think, a 3.8 KD in multiplayer. I'm, 2.2? Which I will say, I think it could be inflated. I purposefully don't really run lethals almost ever, and I grinded for Damascus before any of these dumbass guns got buffed, like the FAL. So all of those guns I've used extensively, over 1,000 kills with almost every weapon in the game to get Damascus. So that's going to naturally tank your stats. Yes. And I don't play for stats, so it is what it is.
Yeah. Let me come to your defense here real quick. Getting Damascus ruins your fucking lifetime, KD. Irreparably fucking tanks it. So if Tar had not gone for Damascus, I didn't know that. If Tar had not gone for Damascus, his KD would be substantially higher. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. So anyway, that aside, I end up in his lobby almost all the time if we're queuing at the same time.
Yeah.
Almost all the time, even though there is a pretty large disparity in KD. Now, is it possible it's not really based on KD and could be based more on something like score per minute? It's possible. I also highly doubt that because, like I said, so many games where I play, there are just absolute bots who sit in the very back of the map. And it's quite obvious if you're spectating them in headquarters, for example, after you die. Like, they don't know how to move around the map. They don't have any iota of game sense, no aim. They're using a controller and they get a few kills here and there, and that's about it. So people like that end up in my lobby all the time. So I understand what my friend's point is about, he thinks it's just over 1 KD and under. I don't think that's true. I think it's a little stricter than that. But I think that it's more based on your recent performance than anything else. And the reason I say that is because I'll give you an anecdotal evidence from the other day. So I got on a couple weeks ago, and this was actually live on stream, and playing the game, just using my classes, going for Obsidian on, I don't know, the Scar or something, which I don't use that often. So playing the game, have a few decent games, 2, 3 KD, drop some streaks, get a 7 KD game here and there. Nothing absolutely crazy. Have a couple bad games where I, go 35 and 25 because the enemy team's running streaks the whole time, whatnot. Now, I get into a lobby after one pretty solid game. I think I was like 65 and 10. So I get in a lobby, and I run across mid and crash, like sliding across a narrow opening to try and beat the spawn rotation timing. And I instantly get one-tapped, and I'm like, holy crap. That guy really shit on me. So didn't watch the kill cam, didn't think anything of it. I spawn, and 1 second later, I get one-tapped by that same guy. So I watch the kill cam, and this guy is literally, like, completely aimbotting. He's spin-botting all the way across the map, jumps up, boop. He's instantly killing anyone as soon as they're available to be killed. Yeah. Obvious cheater. Okay. Now, the funny part was he was actually partied with 3 other people who are all also cheating. So I managed to get a few clips, reported a few of them, should have actually, sent those in on Twitter or whatever, but who knows if that even does anything. So obvious aimbotters, stayed around just to get a few obvious clips just for fun, backed out of that lobby, sat in queue for 10 minutes, got a Naya Palace lobby, which I promptly left, sat in queue for another 10 minutes, eventually got a game, and it was fun. Joined in halfway through. One of my viewers said, hey, use this class. So I used his class. I dropped a nuke on my first life with his class. Game ends.
Wow.
Next lobby. Guess what lobby I'm in again? Take one. I'll give you one guess.
A party of 3 cheaters? The same party of 3 cheaters?
The same party of 4 cheaters.
Oh, 4. Okay.
The same party. Yeah, it's 4, but So that to me shows very clearly that it's based on your recent game performance.
Yeah.
So, because I had, I had one very good game, dropped an instant nuke, finished the game, 10 KD or whatever, and it immediately puts me in a cheater lobby. So to me, it's pretty clear that it's based more on your recent games than your overall KD. Now, as far as what my friend was saying, is it possible that there's some sort of system where if you're over a 1 KD, it just puts you in that group, and then it differentiates more within that group based on your recent games? If I had to guess, based on just my own anecdotal experience, that's how I would say it's likely that it works something like that. Now, that's just me talking out of my ass and basing it on what I've seen and what I've experienced. Could that be true? Absolutely. I don't really know. So.
Yeah. So this is okay. That's interesting. So yeah, it's interesting that you don't find skill-based matchmaking terribly strict. Honestly, I don't either, because I'm not that good. I'm still usually the best player, or I perform you raised a good point. I usually perform the best in my lobby of 6s. Definitely not always, but typically I do. Easily more than 50% of the time. So yeah, I agree that skill-based probably isn't terribly strict. So that's an interesting insight to take. But one of my big problems with skill-based matchmaking is that no one knows exactly how it works. The prevailing theory is that yes, it's based on your past 5 games. That's like the most common theory. It's based on your last 5 games, and it's not strictly KD, nor is it strictly SPM. It's like some weird algorithm combo of the two, or maybe it takes other factors into account. And that's another one of the problems with skill-based matchmaking is not only have they never explicitly confirmed that it exists, they basically have, but not quite. But they also just, no one knows how the fuck it works, which is a disaster. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is this is really where the value is going to come from the listeners. Let's talk about improving. Let's talk about how we can get as good as you are. So some of these questions are going to be PC mouse specific. Some of them will not be, although I suspect most of them will be. So your stats indicate you're, again, higher than the top 1% of performers. Lifetime KD, including getting Damascus in this game. And I would be shocked if you had not been an even higher percentile in previous Call of Duties, based on how this game tries its fucking hardest to crush the skill ceiling. So good players just forces you to the middle with all of the mechanics. And I'm not going to beat that very dead horse now, but you all know, if you've listened to this podcast for a while, what I mean by that. So my first question is, when you first started playing shooters, do you think that you had a natural talent such that you were always pretty good? Or were you the average new frog and then you just got a lot better over time? So in other words, I guess, do you think you have any sort of natural talent? Were you exceptional? Were you exceptional when you were new, but by new frog standards, were you exceptional?
Well, that's actually a really interesting question, and I like how you phrased that. So, when I first started playing, I very quickly became better than my brothers who had already played a decent amount, probably 10, 20, 30 hours
Are they older
before I
than
played
you?
at all. They are.
Okay.
But I mean, you're talking at this point, I was, oh man, I don't know. I can't do math. No.
COD 4,
13 years ago, I would have been 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have been 12.
Yeah.
11 or 12. And they were, 15, 16, 18, whatever. So I was young. But I think the only really, I don't know, advantage that I have going in, that I was maybe starting out ahead of the average player, would be possibly dexterity. I've played piano since I was 5 years old.
Interesting.
So playing, moving your hands quickly around a keyboard, navigating a keyboard was very natural. And I mean, same with the mouse. So I guess as far as fine motor skills, I maybe have an edge over some people who haven't spent as much time honing specific fine motor skills that relate very, very closely to using a mouse and keyboard. And the other thing I think is that I'm an analytical thinker. So regardless of the fact that, I mean, like I said, I wasn't really that good until I put a lot of effort into thinking about how to improve, which wasn't until I played a lot later. But even at the get-go, I figured out pretty quickly why I was dying, and I figured out how to not do that. And I think that's something that a lot of people, I mean, just naturally people do that, right? That's why a lot of people end up camping, is because they move around and they get caught with their gun out and they die. And so they end up just, okay, well, that's not working. Let me pull out an R700 and sit in the back of the map and watch a little crack angle, right?
Right.
That's just natural human nature to adapt or evolve in that way, right? Now, for me, I'm good at problem solving and like analytical thinking. So I picked up on some things like map awareness without really having to consciously think about it. So I guess in that regard, some of that came naturally to me. So, I mean, the first time I ever played Call of Duty Online was Call of Duty 4, and I played on Fatal Forces 24/7 broadcast server, 50v50. And I put probably 150 hours into that server. And on that server, I think I had like a 1.6 KD. And that's coming in from not playing at all to playing maybe 10, 20 hours with my dad. And then I came into that game. And pretty quickly, I started out going negative, but pretty quickly figured out how to not be negative because I didn't want to be negative, right? Nobody wants to look at the scoreboard and go, oh, I went 46 and 127, which could happen, by the way, in
Yes.
50v50 on broadcast.
I didn't know that existed. That must have been a shit show.
Yeah.
Must have felt like shipment
that was,
with better spawns.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, martyrdom was a thing in that game. So,
And Last Stand.
Last Stand. Yep. All kinds of fun ththings.
Yeah.
Which back in the time, people didn't complain about them that much. But nowadays, oh my goodness, if a game released with those,
Dude,
that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would just be so bad. But that aside, like, I don't know that I have a God-given a talent or whatever, just naturally gifted at games. As far as other than, like I said, maybe a little bit of a dexterity advantage and maybe a little bit of a problem-solving and adapting mentality, which some people find harder, I guess.
interesting.
So that's all.
Okay. That's interesting to me. I was that fucking piano piece, that was totally out of left field. I am curious. So like when you say it kind of makes sense to me, but I've watched people play piano. I've also watched people use mice. I've used them myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Is there like lateral wrist movement with like piano? Because I thought you just like used your arm, Is this a dumb question?
Yes.
As a piano player, it's probably a dumb question.
There is a ton of lateral wrist movement as a piano player. I mean, obviously more the higher level you get. And having played, first time I played Call of Duty, I'd been taking lessons from a very, very, very talented teacher for 6 years at that point, 5 years. I started off with my sister teaching. So at that point, probably 4 or 5 years. So I had a very talented teacher and I was jumping, right in, and I really loved playing classical stuff. So at that point, I was already playing somewhat difficult pieces, some Beethoven sonatas, etc.
Can you play Flight of the Bumblebees?
Flight of the Bumblebees is written for violin. I haven't ever tried it on the piano, but I probably could. It would just take a while. Yeah.
I'm such a vulgar peasant.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm kidding.
I mean, if you want an example of probably the hardest piece I've ever played, Chopin Ballade No. 1 in G minor.
Okay.
I'll type that in chat if anybody wants.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
That's the hardest piece I've ever played.
I've heard of Chopin.
I haven't quite finished it, but yeah. Okay. So that's the higher level that I reached with piano. But yes, there's a ton of lateral wrist movement and a lot of wrist dexterity, and you have to be really careful. And in fact, I have some RSI because I wasn't careful enough playing the piano. And
what is RSI for the listener?
For the uninformed listener, RSI is repetitive strain injury. So it's tendonitis basically. Basically overdoing it, not stretching enough, not giving yourself enough time to recover between 3-hour sessions of practicing piano or 12-hour sessions of gaming.
Yeah. Okay.
Stretch your wrists, people. Don't hurt yourself.
Stretch your wrists. Yeah. And there are actually, dude, what's funny is I was like, remember when I asked you in the Discord, like, is your wrist always on your mouse pad?
Mm-hmm.
In during that frenzy, that manic episode I had, I was like reading articles on like aim shit, and like one of the things was like talking about posture and how like the worst thing to do is have your forearm below your desk. Like your specific. Let me rephrase, although it kind of means the same thing. Having your forearm positioned lower than your wrist is fucking terrible for your wrist ligaments or whatever. So. And they specifically they use the acronym RSI in that conversation. So I would have never thought that could even happen. Until I like read that article. But I think I talked to you before reading the article, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
I think I said that exact same thing about having that. Make sure you don't have your elbow below the table as well.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it makes sense though. It makes sense. Okay, so that's good to know. That's good to know. So you had a natural talent in two ways. One was a mechanical skill that you had developed for quite a while that translated to aiming with a mouse. And then the other one was an even more natural, intrinsic, inherent. There's a difference between those. I would say intrinsic. Talent which was kind of an analytical mindset where you would get caught and die, and then you would think, I need to not, whatever just happened, whatever caused me to die there, I need to avoid that situation next time.
Yep.
So for example, you probably full sprinted around a corner into a spawn, got lit up by 25 people, broadcast 50v50. And
Literally.
then you said, yeah, exactly. And then because you have this natural kind of way your mind works, you just thought, okay, well, we can't do that again because I'm just going to get shit on just like that. So then you would alter your play style. And then you never do that again. But then the next time you die, it's not that way, but it's a different way. So then you make another refinement, and then you repeat that 1,000 times. And now your habits are very good.
Yeah, and I think I do want to be clear there. It's not like I'm some unique genius as far as that goes. Everybody does that. Where I think I maybe had the advantage just because of the way that my brain likes to handle information is that once you make those initial changes, like I said, going back to the anecdote about the guy who just ends up in the back of the map with a sniper, right? Eventually, you'll get punished doing everything because in Call of Duty, you can't predict everything, right?
True.
Like, no matter how well you play, sometimes you get punished. So if all that goes into it is I died there, so I can't do that, that's not enough. And I think that's where some people either stop there in the trying to think about how to get better, or they don't react properly. And the way to react properly to that is just to start analyzing and having an information stream and going, okay, well, let's think about it for a second. If I'm peeking a corner into 25 people or possibly 25 people, I need to do something ahead of time that's going to give me A, the possibility to outgun some of them, or B, I need to be just mentally prepared to peek quickly and then stop. And a lot of people don't really think about kind of how to mitigate risk, because it's not about eliminating risk. It's Call of Duty. You're going to die. It's going to happen. Sorry. But it's taking the path of either least resistance or the highest chance of winning, right?
Yeah, it's all about probabilities.
I play very aggressively now. So now it's mostly about just probabilistic analysis. So if I'm rushing down middle, that's one of the reasons why I actually disagreed with one of your points on the gameplay reviews the other day. You said never use a knife, always use a pistol. Now, you do have a good point. And
you move faster with a pistol than a knife in this game.
Not according to my experience. Maybe it's based on
Exclusive Ace did a video on this. That's the reason I bring it up. So that just to preempt what I think you're probably going to go toward. But.
For me, it doesn't feel like that to me. I guess I'm skeptical of that video. I'll watch it. But for me, it feels smoother and quicker to do the crouch or the slide canceling. And then, so when I move around the map right off the get-go, and often, I do the double sprint, right? And if you do a slide properly, you can slide in and out of double sprint and then basically reset your double sprint way faster than it would otherwise. So you can basically almost always be double sprinting around the map. So if you do that well off a spawn with a knife, it seems to work better than with a pistol for me. So I guess that's my anecdote, which maybe that's not true. Maybe a pistol is just as fast and it just didn't feel like it. Could be. But that's why I use a knife. And
Okay.
What that allows me to do is to cross an area that otherwise would be uncrossable. Because if you get a decent spawn at the start of the game and you push directly up middle and then take a left, say right before you on, for example, Grozna raid, right? Take a left right before you get to the middle and go upstairs. You can get upstairs before the other team does if you hit that just right.
Yeah.
So you're mitigating your risk. You're crossing a high traffic area where there's a decent chance someone will be sniping eventually, but you're going on the off chance that they aren't there yet. And that can allow you to get behind a whole crap ton of people and get a bunch of free easy kills on, say, headquarters, where the first headquarters is right below you. So you can jump out that window and peek 5 people from behind right off the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that, it's all about processing information and trying to figure out what you can do, how you can play the map in such a way that you're taking all of your information that you have available to you, which is teammate positioning, sound cues, which in this game are awful, visibility, where you see enemies, where you see your teammates, minimap, and trying to predict where you have your best chance of winning a gunfight. So I guess that's natural to me. I've never really thought about that much, and until way later into my gaming career, I guess you could say. Not really a career, but into my gaming experience.
Right.
And at that point, I've improved on some little things since then, but I realized that was a lot of those things were pretty natural to me, which allowed me to have an edge.
Okay, so this is interesting. First of all, I agree 1,000% about what you're saying. Like, you can't eliminate risk in Call of Duty. That's not how arcade shooters work. But you can minimize risk using probabilistic analysis. Like so, for example, you look at your mini map, and there are 8 blue triangles around this corner. What is the probability that there's an enemy camping around this corner? Extremely low, but it does happen. So you should just fucking peek the corner or just like sprint the corner, whatever, because you want to get to your next area more quickly. But every once in a while, your teammates are fucking idiots. More than every once in a while, but every once in a while, there's gonna just be an enemy that should not be there and is there. But I agree with you 1,000%, because if you always play to the probabilities, then you're always going to do as best as you possibly could without being omniscient. So number one, I love that analysis, and I love the way you phrase that. Number two, on the pistol knife point. So if a knife movement is faster than a pistol, then I concede your point. The reason I interrupted you there was because common sense would dictate, and every other Call of Duty, it was the case, that the fastest way to move your character was with a knife out. So, I don't fault you for thinking that. And you might actually be right. I don't know. I don't know when the exclusive Ace video was made. And with all of the stealth changes that happen in this shit game, they could have changed this again. And also, it's also possible that the reason you feel more smoothly with a knife is for one of two that I can think of, maybe more reasons. Number one, it might actually move faster and exclusive Ace was just wrong, or his information's outdated. Or number two, the weapon swap is faster. So even if you have a pistol, and that's important, right? Like if you're about to sprint a corner, you switch to your knife, even if the movement speed is 0.5% slower than it would be with a pistol, the fact that you can switch to it, and more importantly, switch away from it faster, might be overall more beneficial. And it's also possible that the sliding mechanics work differently when you have a knife versus a pistol. I mean, who fucking knows with this shit game? So I just wanted to be clear that I wasn't like shitting on you when I made that point.
No, you're good. And I think I casually, while you were talking, I looked up the exclusive Ace video, and it looks to me, just from looking at like the spoiler alert, I haven't watched the videos, just from looking at the descriptions, it looks like there's been a couple different changes back and forth.
Yeah.
And it was only some of the pistols that were faster than the knife.
Okay.
And since I often use the Deagle, which if I had to guess, I would say that's definitely a lot slower than the pistol, than the knife.
That explains it all.
That would be why I felt that way. And honestly, I don't know. His newest video says, "Our pistol's still faster, combat knife hidden movement buff." as of April. So
okay.
who knows? Who even knows at this point? Maybe it's faster with all of them. Maybe it's not. The fact that that's even a question and like they change these things 3 times within the course of a
With
game cycle
zero
without
patch
ever
notes
saying
about it,
anything
by the
in the
way.
patch notes, it's hilarious. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. Okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So my next question here is, and by the way, chat, for all the cheers and gifted subs and shit, I appreciate it. I will get to you. Please don't get mad at me, but I'm fucking balls deep in this conversation. So I promise I'll get to you though. Just chill out and bear with me, and I hope you understand. What do we have here? Okay, so next question. This is for the PC players, for the PC Master Race listeners. And you should all switch to PC, powergpu.com. Tell them the Dropshot sent you. I'll get paid for it eventually. I'm hoping for that. I've sent like 10 fucking customers their way, and they follow me on Twitter now, so I got something. Anyways, what is your mouse sensitivity is question number 1. And as a follow-up, do you have any thoughts on what a good sensitivity is and or what an acceptable range of sensitivities is? And if we wanted to speak objectively, because I get the sense that you enjoy using as objective measures as possible, we can talk in centimeters per 360 if you'd like. And for those listening who don't know what the fuck that means, centimeters per 360 is it is a universal measurement of someone's mouse sensitivity, because there are different sensitivity scales within each game. So for example, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare sensitivity scale is, I think, 1 to 100. And in like World War II, it's like 1 to 10. And it's not even 1/10 of the sensitivity like you would expect. It's more complicated and weird than that. So a way to uniformly talk about sensitivity, people will talk about centimeters per 360. Mm-hmm. And there are ways to figure this out. And so mine, for example, mine is pretty high sense, about 31 centimeters per 360 for me. So again, I've just talked a lot. I apologize. I wanted to explain that to the listeners. What is your mouse sense, and do you have thoughts on what an acceptable range of mouse sense is for Call of Duty games specifically?
So first off, mouse sense, and I'll just give it to you in Modern Warfare units, because I haven't really calculated centimeters per 360 in a while, so I don't even know what it's at currently.
Gotcha.
But for Modern Warfare, I play on 800 DPI, which is pretty standard. A lot of people play on 400 or 1600. But as far as that goes, if I'm playing on 800 and you're playing on 400, if you cut your sensitivity in half, or wait, double it, that would be what mine is on 800. And the same vice versa with 1600. So as far as DPI goes, that's how that affects it. That's pretty straightforward. Now, sensitivity, like he said, is pretty complicated between games. But for this, since we're talking about Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, I play at 5 currently. I've fiddled around a little bit with up to 6.5, 7 at one point, and as low as 4. For me, the reason I'm still at 5 is just because it helps. I'm able to track pretty well at 5, but I'm also able to use most of my mouse pad to flick to people if I need to. It is a lower sense than a lot of people use.
Especially for Call of Duty.
Yeah, especially for Call of Duty. I'll clarify that. My sense is pretty high if you're a CS player, but it's pretty low if you're a Call of Duty player in general.
Yes. And
the reason for that is CS, you very rarely need to be 360ing almost ever. If you're playing the game properly, you'll never even have to do a 180. So in that game, much lower sensitivity, so you can be as precise as possible with those clicks. And with that, spray control is helpful. Now in Call of Duty, there are a lot of times where you just end up in a shit show and you have to, aim at someone who's 90 degrees to your right and then all the way to your left, which is now a 180, and then again right in front of you. So now, depending on which way you go, you're either doing a 90, a 180, and another 90, or you're doing a 90, a 180, and a 270. You can do that. You can have that happen over and over again in a very short amount of time. So in general, a higher sensitivity is what a lot of people gravitate to for Call of Duty, just because of the higher paced, faster paced action. As far as an acceptable range, honestly, it's mostly down to personal, comfort. For me, I would say the biggest thing is to make sure that you're not hurting yourself with your mouse sensitivity. And now, if you're in the range, say you're at 800 DPI, and you're between 4 and 10, you're probably not going to hurt yourself either way. Now, if you're at 20, you might hurt yourself. And the reason for that is you're making such fine movements that your whole arm is going to have to be tensed to even make fine enough adjustments to accurately aim. Now, Syrian plays at a sensitivity that's almost that high. I don't know how he does it, and he hasn't hurt his wrists. Or actually, that's not true. He has hurt his wrists, but I don't know if it's from Call of Duty. Yeah, he has lots of wrist problems, but I don't know that it's from Call of Duty, so I can't really talk about that.
He lowered his sense about 3 months ago, I want to say.
Okay.
But now he's at 1805, which is still quite high.
Yeah, significantly higher.
Yeah.
So that's more than twice what my sense is for reference.
Yes.
But like I said, he's on the very high end of almost anybody I know who plays on PC. Most people fall in that kind of, if you're at 800 DPI, kind of between 5 and 8. So that's kind of where most people are. If you're looking for a place to start, maybe start somewhere in there. You know, if you want a little higher sensitivity, start at 8 or 9 at 800 DPI, which would be, 16 if you're at 400 DPI, or by 4 at 1600 DPI. And if you got a weird DPI, just calculate it. There's ways to do that.
Yeah.
Use a calculator. Read a book.
Read
anyway,
a fucking book. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So sensitivity, though, like I was saying, though, the biggest thing is just find something that's comfortable, where you're not going to hurt your wrist, where you can do what you need to do without hurting yourself. So find something that's comfortable for you and practice with that, and you'll get good at it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So I wanted to, I take a little umbrage with your answer, but not much. I've asked a lot of really good players, like when I'm in their stream or whatever, hey, well, I actually usually haven't asked this actually. But when people talk about it, they often say like, oh, just use whatever is comfortable for you. And it's like, my problem with this is that I suffered from this mentality when I first started playing BO4. So BO4 was my first PC shooter, because I played a fuck ton of MMOs where sense doesn't matter at all. So when I played BO4, I set my DPI to like 1600, and then I used the default sensitivity that BO4 had because it felt comfortable to me, and I knew nothing. So this was like this was wrong to do. And by the way, the default BO4 sensitivity is like 15. So I was playing on like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's problem number one is the default sensitivity is way too high. Sure. But problem number two for me, and it's like, I was doing okay. I was just an average, just dickhead for a long time. And then eventually I was like, I want to get better. Let me look at strategies to improve, one of which was, of course, sensitivity. And then I quickly learned, I was like, oh, everyone's sensitivity is way fucking lower than mine. Let me try this. And then once but by the time I did this, I was like prestige 3. I had all of this muscle memory for a shit sensitivity that is just way outside of an acceptable range in my view. And then I changed it to significantly lower, and it took, I mean, honestly, it didn't take that long to get used to, but it took long to get like good with, but once I did, I immediately, as soon as I got used to my way lower sense, I started doing way fucking better than I ever did. So
I will say,
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
No,
well, I'll just say anecdotally, there are, I guess what I'm trying to go with is find something that works, but is also comfortable. So like I said, you're going to want to start lower than you think, probably.
Yes.
Which is
always what I
Raz
say.
is hinting at.
Yes.
Yep. So start lower than you think. But the reason for that is in Call of Duty specifically, tracking is very important. Even more so in Black Ops 4 with higher health. So what tracking is your ability, just to be 100% clear here, is your ability to track across your screen at a moving target. So say someone's strafing across your screen like this, your ability to move your cursor and track them accurately. Now, if you're at a really high sensitivity, it's going to be really hard, and your aim's going to go in front of them and then back behind them, and you're going to jitter around, and most of your bullets are going to end up in the wind, not doing anything to that guy. And he's going to turn and he's going to kill you, and you're going to be like, holy crap, I'm bad at this game. Now, a lower sensitivity, the reason it helps you is because you have to move your arm more. And that is a more predictable and repeatable motion. So when you're using more muscles, to do something, it's a more predictable motion to get into your muscle memory. That just, makes sense. So if you actually have to move your arm a little bit or your wrist at least a little bit, as opposed to just, the most minor movements to track across your screen, you're going to be able to be more accurate. Now, practice. This is the one thing a lot of people ask about aim trainers. This is the one thing aim trainers are really good for. They'll have you do flicking tests, tracking tests, and you can fiddle with sensitivities and go, oh, wow, I did way better tracking on this, even though it felt horrible. So try it a few more times, and if it's hurting your wrist, stop and raise or lower it until it's not hurting. But if it's not hurting you and you're doing better, keep going in that direction until you stop making progress. So for me, if you're at 6.5 sensitivity and you want to get better at tracking, lower it down to 6 and you do better. Okay, well then keep going. Go to 5.5. If you do worse at 5.5, go back up to 5.8. Eventually, you're going to get sore and tired of it, so you can't do this monster hour-long session of tracking practice. That's not going to be good for anyone. But, find something, do a few test runs, and then you'll eventually pretty quickly figure out, oh, well, I'm better at tracking between 5 and 6 than I am anywhere else, higher or lower. And that's kind of what I meant with figure out something that's comfortable for you. So figure out something that works and that isn't hurting you. That's the biggest thing.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. So for me with the,
of course, if you're on controller, it just does all the tracking for you. So
yeah, if you're on controller, max your sensitivity and then just put your crosshair remotely on someone and it'll lock on for you.
Yep.
Any console peasants in the chat? Buy a computer. How about that? And then plug a controller into it. You get the best of both worlds. Okay, interesting. So on this point then, so for me, I very recently started doing aim trainers because I remember I asked Syrian and I asked Nate. I said, hey, do you guys ever use aim trainers or whatever? And they were like, and they were both like, oh no, I've never used them. That's what they told me. They were like, I just played the game and I got fucking insane like I am now. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Well, I guess I don't need them. This is wrong. So I don't know what fucking genetic mutation those kids have, but they're not kids. I'm sorry. That sounds condescending. I didn't mean it that way. Those young men have, but I don't have that. So eventually I was asking more streamers. So I asked like TGD the same thing. I asked Nexus PC. I asked MP Control Ward. And they were in the opposite camp. They were like, fuck yeah, I use Kovacs a lot and it like helps me a lot. So eventually I did this. And this is literally like a month ago. I like decided to like try aim trainers. And what was good for me about it, I'm sure the sensitivity adjustment thing is a really good point, Tar. And I stand behind your assessment, but for me, what was good about it was I was like doing like the flicking exercise or whatever, and I was doing whatever, not great, and then I kind of like I just tried like positioning my hand and my arm in like different spots, and then all of a sudden I did one particular thing where it's like my elbow like. Basically, this is on my desk, so my elbow's floating, but that's kind of it. And then also my right wrist was on my mouse pad 100% of the time. And when I did that, like, strategy, I was like, oh, dude, my score, like, went up 80%. Like, my high score. First try. And I was like, okay, wow, there's something to this. So I kept doing that to see if it was a fluke, and it wasn't. And, like, now my technique is better because I was trying because like you can, like obviously you're going to get opportunities to try a flick in when you're playing the game, but you maybe get 2 like proper flick opportunities per match, 10 minutes, say. That's not enough. So, but if you do Kovacs in 60 seconds, you'll get fucking 80. So then it's really good for like allowing you to do a 1-minute drill of flicking and then trying like a different technique, see what's more comfortable, and then doing it again. And then that was the real utility I got out of aim trainers. So I think in addition to what Tar was saying, there's that benefit as well. And there are probably more than that also. Like, even if you're not trying to change your technique or your sense, if you have both of those locked in, it's still probably good just to practice, because you're not going to get an opportunity to flick 80 times in 60 seconds ever. So it's good for just practicing, even if your technique and your sense is locked in. So that's interesting to hear. My next question is this. This is a little bit of a broader point. What percentage do you think of doing well in like a multiplayer match in Call of Duty is raw aiming ability versus everything else, such as positioning, map awareness, when to sprint, when to not sprint, etc.? Does the question make sense?
That is a good question. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question. I don't really know, to be honest. For me, there are definitely some games where I feel like my aim is fine. Like I feel like I'm aiming at people just fine, and I still get shit on. So obviously that brings into it, positioning and awareness and adjusting to how the other people are playing it. But I don't know. It's really up in the air. Sometimes my aim isn't that great, but I'll still have a decent game if I'm just really disciplined. So I would say, your raw aim definitely helps. And let's be real here. No matter how good your positioning is, if you can't hit the enemy, you're never going to kill them. So you have to be able to aim to some extent. But positioning can help you make those kills a whole lot easier. So I don't know. I can't really put a percentage on it, but I would say it's probably more important, your positioning and your awareness, than your aim. But you have to have a certain threshold of aim, otherwise you'll never get a kill regardless.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. So in other words, if I could try to rephrase that, there is a minimum threshold of aiming competence that is required. But once you meet that threshold, then positioning and awareness become paramount.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Good to know.
And that's not to say that, different play styles can't work. I play super aggressive all the time, which hurts my stats sometimes, and sometimes it helps them. But I mostly just do it because that's how I enjoy playing the game. If I wanted to play for a high KD all the time, A, I'd run lethals. B, I'd play to get those lethals, which means I'd play a little bit slower, play a little bit safer, play a little bit more behind my teammates as opposed to always in front of them pushing the envelope, and things like that. But since I don't care about my KD, I just want to have a lot of gunfights. I'm always up there pushing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. Nice. That's good to know. I've always wondered this myself because, I think that question is almost impossible to answer, which is kind of why I asked you. I was curious what your thoughts were. It was a trick.
Gymnastics.
Get baited.
Yeah.
No. Your answer was perfect, and I think it applies to almost everyone. But the reason I'm saying that is, as this caveat, is just like you need a bare minimum of aim to where your positioning even matters, because your positioning doesn't matter if you can't aim at all, right? Obviously, like let's say your controller was broken, wouldn't matter how well you position, you're gonna die. So that point is well taken. But there's also, I think, from what I've seen, an aiming potential where your aim is so much better than any conceivable person in your lobby that your positioning starts to matter. Not at all. I want to be clear. It's not like your positioning doesn't matter at all, but it matters a lot less. Like, for example,
Absolutely.
I have to be a lot more fucking careful what I push than fucking Nate Gibson or the Gaming Definition or Syrian. I will watch their stream, and Nate will he'll look in the window of a building, and he'll see 4 people, right? He'll see 4 people in one room, and his next play is to fucking just SWAT team in that bitch, and he'll fuck everyone. 90% of the time, he just fucks everyone, and it's like, I want to be clear, guys. When I say you should watch these streamers to improve, that doesn't mean you should play exactly the way they do, because you can't. hey, listener, you can't fucking do that. You're not going to get away with that. Almost no one is. It's like they're allowed to position in ways that are absurd for me to do. And I'm pretty good. 93rd percentile. It's not great. There are listeners better than me, statistically, because we get so many fucking listeners. But I'm better than most people in the average game. But despite that, there are things I just can't get away with that these fucking God Kings get away with. And it's like that. The only reason I ask that is like, man, if you can aim real fucking good, you can overcome a lot of just, it's not even bad positioning. So like the storming the building is one example where you're just rolling the dice, and your percentages raise exponentially as your aim gets better, of course. But also, if you catch someone with their pants down, because sometimes you're doing everything right and you still just happen to find yourself surrounded by 4 kids. And raw aiming ability there, it's like it's no fault of the player. It's not like it's not like the player has bad positioning. But if your aim is real fucking good, you're still gonna win. So yeah, I guess the point here is that I feel like there is a ceiling to map awareness and positioning that is relatively easy to reach. Whereas with aim, there's really not a skill ceiling. Your aim can always get better, I feel like, but you're like positioning and map awareness, you can hit the ceiling on that, not easily, but pretty fucking easily. Whereas with aiming, like you can't, there's just no ceiling for aiming. There's always ways to, like, I don't know, get better.
Yeah, which is why people like TGD and Syrian routinely get called cheaters by people who just aren't as good.
Exactly.
Because they're so much higher in some of those aspects and just raw aim than the average person that a lot of people cannot fathom that it's real. But the fact of the matter is, there are probably better aimers out there than Syrian.
100%.
And there definitely are. We don't know who they are because they don't stream, or better than Shroud at raw aiming, or better than Elige, Counter-Strike Pro. There are people out there who aren't known who are better. There are always people who are better. But I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Positioning can only get you so far. Aiming can get you probably farther.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that is, like you said, just watching a streamer to improve. Sometimes if they're playing super aggressively and just bailing themselves out of bad situations with their incredible aim, you're not going to be able to replicate that yourself.
Yes.
So, but, in general, those people named will be making smarter decisions based on positioning than the average person.
Oh, yeah,
so
for sure.
You can still learn a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's not to say that they play like apes. Like, let me be clear. It's not like fucking the gaming definition just always just fucking YOLOs everywhere. He doesn't. But there are times where he'll be like, you know what? Fuck it. And just go. And like, he'll be fine. That's interesting though. That's funny. But yeah, that is a super good point. And I've been baited into this, dude. I've been watching one of these guys stream, and I'm like, dude, I'm so It's like when I was playing NJB, National Junior Basketball. Any white boys in the chat? And like before practice, I would watch like a YouTube video of like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant highlights. F's in the chat for Kobe Bryant. And then I would just like go to practice all pumped up and like so excited to play basketball. So sometimes, as a 28-year-old man, by the way, 28 years old, I will watch one of these guys stream like Shipment 24/7, where they're doing exactly this, just nonstop, either sprinting or shooting someone, 100% of the lobby, and I just get so fucking amped, dude. And then I queue and I try to play like that myself. I turn the first corner, dead, slap, no, wrong, just shit on over and over, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I need to remember, I'm not fucking the gaming definition.
Instant reality check.
Yeah, and just shit on by like reality. Yeah. Oh, fuck, that's funny. Okay. So what else do we have here? Okay, so earlier we were talking about how you went from like when you were first playing COD 4 and you just kind of naturally have this analytical kind of thought process, but you weren't really like actively thinking about these things. You were just kind of naturally doing it. When you went from passively to actively being analytical about how you play the game, did you notice a significant improvement when you started being analytical and like analyzing like maps and like strategies and actually taking a concerted effort to improve your play, as opposed to that merely being a function of how your mind operates? Does the question make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, yeah.
Yep,
go ahead.
absolutely. I did. Yeah, it was actually more significant than I thought it would be, because I was like, oh, I kind of already pay attention. You know, I actually watched a YouTube video of someone explaining like map awareness and positioning, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how much thinking about that cognitively, like, you know, having it in the forefront of my mind instead of just subconsciously processing it, I wonder how much that would help me. And I was like, I didn't really think it would. But then I tried it, and I was like, wow, okay, that helps a lot. And I don't know. I think a lot of people specifically, and this kind of gets down to the casual mindset versus like the competitive mindset. And this is because I'm a super, super, super competitive person. Once I realized that would help me get better, I put a lot of time into thinking about it. And I think that's something that a lot of people can benefit from if you're wanting to improve, even on a casual level. You don't have to be the most hardcore gamer out there to want to improve at a game, right? It's natural. Anybody who's playing a game wants to be better at it. Yeah. I mean, if you're learning how to play baseball, you want to be better at baseball. How do you be better at baseball? You talk to people who are better than you, and you watch them, and you figure out what they're doing right that you're not doing right.
Even if you're totally I'm sorry, but real quick, even if you're totally casual, the better you do in any game, the more fun you'll have. So even if you're a total casual fucking like whatever weekend get drunk and play with your friends player, you should still invest in trying to get better, because when you're casually playing, you'll have more fun. It's more fun to go 30-0 than 10-20. So anyways, yeah, go on.
Yeah, objectively. So I think, like I said, though, it doesn't, it varies depending on who you are. But one of the most important things that I did that helped me kind of harness that was actually watching back my own gameplay. And this is something where if you're super casual, you might not ever be like, okay, not worth my time, right? Whatever. That's up to you. But if you take the time to watch back your own gameplay and think about what you did wrong, that helps a lot more, I would say, than just watching people who are better than you. Watching people who are better than you is fun. I mean, hey, people make money on Twitch. A lot of people watch them. Yeah. There's a reason why people like watching people who are better than them. That's why sports are a thing. But that can only help you so much. If you watch your own gameplay back, it's almost like listening to yourself in a recording, right? A lot of people hate the way they sound. Well, you can work to improve that. If you're a singer, specifically, like if you record yourself and you're like, holy crap, that sounds terrible. Well, figure out why it sounds terrible. Is it because it's nasally? Is it because you use your chest voice in a wrong manner? Is it because your head voice to chest voice transition is terrible? Doesn't matter. But the point is, by listening to it objectively, you're going to hear what you don't like. You're going to realize what you don't like and why it didn't work. Same happens when you watch your own gameplay. So if you watch back even just 2 minutes, like record 2 minutes of your gameplay on Shadowplay or whatever you can use on Xbox or PS4, record it, watch it back, and go, holy crap, I was not aware at all of how I died there, and I didn't do anything to prevent that guy from killing me. Whereas if I did this one thing, I would have been totally fine and would have won that fight. That's something that is often overlooked. And again, if you're super casual and you don't really want to do that, that's up to you. But it's very easy to improve a lot just based on watching yourself, if you're just willing to take a little bit of time and think about why.
Interesting. That makes perfect sense, and I agree with you 100%. One thing I hadn't thought of is recording your own gameplay. I actually totally didn't think of that, but that's such a good point, because yeah, like you could, you know, I think there is something to be said about watching players who are better than you and picking up their habits, but also you could record your own game, and every time you die, run it back and think about why. Why did I die here?
Mm-hmm.
Was my aim dog shit? Okay, aim better. Was I in a dumb spot? Okay, don't go there again. Did I get caught sprinting? Okay, don't sprint that corner. That's a very good point. That's interesting. So,
and that still helps me today. I mean, I played a couple of games before the stream, or before the podcast. I got shot from a spot in an angle that I didn't know existed. I've been playing this game, I don't know, probably almost 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the hell did I die there? Looked at the kill cam, and the guy was on top of a box, looking over a wall at an angle that I didn't know existed. If I hadn't watched the kill cam, I would never have known. Not on Promenade. Where was it? Trying to think exactly where it was. Oh, it was on Hovik Sawmill in 10v10.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's one of the angles on the side of the map.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not know that was an angle.
Yeah.
So, part of that is because this game is dog shit and there are way too many angles like that. But there's always a way to improve. And, even with 1,000 hours into the game, just by taking a few seconds to go, wow, why did I die there? In this case, the kill cam gave me the answer. In some cases, you won't really know unless you watch it back.
Okay, that's such a good point. I can't believe I hadn't thought of that, but it's such an obvious answer. Like, hey, watch your own gameplay and think about when you died or whatever. That's such a good point. All right, so we'll wrap this up. I have two more questions, and then we'll get some fucking dubs in the in Verdansk here. And I appreciate you taking the time, Tar. Really, this has been enthralling for me. I've really enjoyed this conversation. So next question is, what is one trick, habit, thing, etc. that you do in game that is not very common, but it helps you do better? So if that question doesn't make sense, here's how I would answer this question. Picking up a weapon off the ground when your magazine is empty would be my answer to this question. It's like people don't normally do. I learned this from Nate, by the way. People don't normally. Nate does it all the fucking time, and it's crazy how often he does it. And like, I remember watching his stream, I was like, I never pick up weapons and never pick up weapons in multiplayer. But I remember specifically he was playing Ground War inside on the second story, one of the buildings on Quarry, and he's like behind this box, and he just dumps his 60 round mag into 8 people, and then one of the 8 guns that is strewn about here. Oh, kids are still coming. He doesn't reload. He doesn't switch to his pistol. He just picks up. He doesn't look at the gun. There's no time. He just picks up anything. And 99% of the time, that gun's going to be perfectly serviceable. So he does that and then fucking destroys another 8 people. And then like he's got a nuke or whatever. That is something I learned from him. But that would be my answer to this question. What is one trick, habit, kind of thing, kind of like that, do you do that is uncommon that really helps you succeed, even in edge cases like that, that people wouldn't normally think to do?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, that's a really good answer to that question as well. And I don't actually do that as often as I should.
I don't either.
Yeah, I would say one thing for me that's helped a lot that I don't think a lot of people do is always assume that there's 2. Always assume there's another guy. So often you'll be running around the map somewhere and a guy pops up around the corner and you win that fight. Now, what's your instinct? If you're like a lot of COD people, you're going to reload after one gunfight. Now, you don't really need to. That's kind of a different tip in general.
Yes,
but
it is.
The one thing is always be mentally ready for the next fight. And often when there's one, there's more. People tend to kind of move in groups, especially in Call of Duty or shooters in general. Unless it's the one guy in the other team who's ridiculous and cracked and goated and sprints the entire game with dead silence and is always up in your face, there's probably more right behind the guy who you just killed. So that can help a lot, even just continuing to pre-aim for that extra second or two where a guy just popped up. So that's something that I don't think a lot of people think about, but that can help with a lot of unnecessary deaths, because I've had it happen so many different times where I kill a guy and then I just instantly reload or just start sprinting again, start tactical sprinting again, and then my sprint out time is 500 milliseconds, and the next guy comes around the corner and I'm not quite full health because the other guy managed to hit a bullet or 2 on me, and here I am stuck with my dick in my hands,
Yes.
trying to pull out my gun with a 500 millisecond sprint time, and I'm like, wait a second,
dude.
this sucks. So if you just assume that there's always another guy, that kind of can help mitigate some of that timing that happens a lot.
Dude, this, holy shit. I laughed so hard right now. I tried to stifle it. Not only is that hilarious because I also die exactly that way. You kill some dude and you either reload or start sprinting because you just think he's the only dude, and then you're like, oh fuck, I have to put up with my 500 millisecond sprint out time and I get my ass fucked. Not only is that funny because I sympathize with it, but that's also actually a good tip for me. The way you phrased it is actually helpful. It'll be helpful to listeners, but it's actually helpful to me personally. Always assume there's more than the one dickhead you just killed. Such a great tip. Such a great tip. And all you need to do, exactly like you said, is continue pre-aiming for literally the next second, or maybe peek the corner slightly and like check if anyone else is running towards you. If there is, you'll be happy you did because you'll kill them. And you still have plenty of bullets in your magazine, as you said. Or if there isn't, well, now you know you can reload or start sprinting without getting caught with your dick in your hand, as you said. That's the best answer I could have hoped for. Fantastic. That actually helped me as well. Awesome. Okay. And then my last question for you. What is one thing / bad habit that you see people do often that makes you upset and you think it's so dumb and you can't believe so many people do it, if such a thing exists? If not, then I would amend the question to be, what is one bad habit that you think is common that is easily remedied?
Playing Modern Warfare multiplayer in 2020. No, snarkiness aside.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think it's kind of hammering on the same nail, but the only thing that's really coming to mind is just the reloading thing. I see it so many times where someone gets a kill or starts shooting at someone and they have a 60-round mag and they have 46 bullets left in their mag and they reload.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't kill 1, 2, 3, or even 4 players with 46 bullets, like, something's wrong. So, I mean, it gets down to the point, once you're confident with your aim, I'm confident enough in this game to take gunfights with 6 bullets in my mag. Now, is that generally a good idea? Probably not, but sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yes.
So, and that doesn't, most of the time I see this happen, that it really, really bugs me, is when someone gets one kill, they instantly reload. They have literally more than 40 bullets left in their gun, and they're reloading instantaneously in the middle of the open, not behind any cover at all. So, I mean, I do it myself. It triggers me when I realize that I'm doing it myself. But if you're going to reload, get behind some sort of cover from the most likely angle. If you're in the middle of a street, get behind a car, go to a wall, and then reload. And yeah, I guess I can't really think of anything else at the moment. I'm sure there are better tips, but yeah.
No, that's perfect.
What I got.
That's a perfect answer. If that question was sprung upon me in this fashion, no DNC, I would have answered the same way. Because I think that is actually the most common really bad habit that people have.
Yeah.
Is they get a kill and they just instantly reload. Even though they have, like you said, 46 bullets left. It's like, dude, even if your aim is average, with 46 bullets, you can get 3 more kills. Like with average aim. So like, don't be in such a hurry to always have a full mag. I think that's a perfectly good answer there. TarTarBits, I appreciate the time. Thank you. I'm very excited to run some games if you still were up for that.
I do actually have to check my text real quick. I've got work tomorrow, but I don't know what time I have to leave. So I'm just trying to think about when I've got to sleep. So I'll say 90% sure. Okay. But I just have to check this time frame real quick because I got to meet somebody.
No worries. Well, while you do that, I'm going to gloat. Class, if you can draw your attention to the screen. The gaming definition saw our last podcast episode. And if you listen to our last episode, we talked about him and we used him as a case study to why shadow banning is fucking terrible for this game. And then three things happened, actually. He commented on the YouTube video, so I woke up and I saw the gaming definition, the fucking real dude with his 60,000 YouTube subs, commented on our podcast episode and was like, and he timestamped when we started talking about him, and he said, "I've never heard of him." He was being tongue-in-cheek. It made me laugh very hard, and it also made me very hard. So that was just fantastic. And then even better, I went to my Twitch, and the fucking mad lad now follows the stream, dude. Fucking absolutely fantastic. The fucking demon himself. We've been talking about TGD for so goddamn long on the Dropshot of Call of Duty podcast. So this was very exciting to me. And he also followed me on Twitter as well. I couldn't be happier about this. So I wanted to just gloat to you guys. This absolutely made my my fucking day. Did you get word, Tar?
I'm checking something real quick.
Yeah, go for it. So
just give me 30 more seconds.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're good, man. You're good. No. I just wanted to make sure, because regardless of what you're doing, I want to make sure you shout yourself out and tell people where they can find you. But in the meantime, remember to follow me on Twitter at Razinon, on Twitch, where the podcast is live streamed at twitch.tv/Razinon, and on Instagram at RazinontTTV. You can follow the Dropshot part-time employee Tanner Dropshot, who is actually occasionally on the podcast. He's sometimes here. His name is Tanner. You guys might remember him. It's been so long since he's been on the podcast, so I don't blame you if you don't remember him. But he's the dude with the dumb facial hair who drives a Jeep and likes smoking meats. You can find him on Twitter at Tanner Dropshot, and on Twitch at Tanner Dropshot, twitch.tv/Tanner Dropshot, and on Instagram at Tanner with 4 R's. And if you have Amazon Prime, link it to your Twitch account and give me your Twitch Prime sub. Normally I say give it to Tanner because he's a broke bitch and he needs it, but he's a part-time employee now. He doesn't care about the Dropshot, so don't sub to him. Sub to me, twitch.tv/Razinon with your Amazon Prime. Rate the fucking podcast 5 stars on iTunes, and please tell your friends about us. And then also find me on YouTube, which is in the show notes. It is conveniently linked for you in the Twitch chat as well. We post full episodes of the Dropshot of Call of Duty podcast with video on the YouTube. We also post clips for you to share with your friends, and we post gameplay breakdowns, which is not in the RSS feed because it wouldn't make sense to be. But the gameplay breakdowns have been extremely popular. Not by YouTube standards, but by the Dropshot standards. They've been very popular. So check those out if you like the pod. You'll probably like those. Everyone else has. And those can be on the YouTube. Smash the like button. Make sure you sub. I'm close to monetizing. I need more subs. Sub to the fucking YouTube. It costs you nothing. We also have a merch store with a bunch of absolutely fire merch. We have 2, as a matter of fact. You can find the links to those in the show notes. And if you type !shop in the fucking Twitch chat, you can find links to those as well. And then join the fucking Discord, of course, which is once again in the show notes and in the Twitch chat. We talk. It's extremely vibrant on the Discord. People are talking all the time. If you want to learn, share, roast me, tag me against the rules to tag me as much as you guys do, by the way, but that's fine. I'm a magnanimous leader of this shit fucking podcast about an even shittier game. And then, so yeah, join the fucking Discord. And consider joining our Patreon. 2 bonus episodes a month. And then there's also some additional benefits for different tiers. Patreon.com/thedropshot, one word. Lastly, special thank you to our Damascus patrons, Mr. Salmonella, J. Pritch, Slivovitz, Jake W., Zerosio, Rainman, Sandstoner, To Kill a Rocking Bird, Face Esquire, Gift Curse, Adam H., Mr. Matt Dad, Sniff Sniff Hambone, change it. Jimmy M, Von Trapp, Josh S, I swear she was 18, sus, probably change that. And extra special thanks to our Obsidian, one and only Obsidian patron and Dropshot patriarch, the Vaping Viking. Tar, any other news from you, brother?
I would absolutely love to transition into gameplay, but I did some math and I thought I would have to leave at about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Turns out I have to leave at 8 a.m.
Ooh,
and it's
shit.
midnight.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
you're
should
good.
probably be wise and go sleep
Yeah.
like a responsible person.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunate. Which is a big bummer.
We'll make it happen. We'll definitely raid you. We'll soon.
Sure.
I very much appreciate you joining us tonight, man. It was really fun, and I actually learned a lot. I expected to learn some. I didn't expect to learn this much. So thank you very much. Where can the good people find you?
Just my name, twitch.tv/TarTarBits, and same at Twitter at TarTarBits. I don't really tweet that much, but I'm trying to start using it a little bit more. I'm a millennial. I'm not really into all the I'm a millennial with the heart of a boomer, I guess. Not really into all the social medias that much.
Dude, it's funny.
Go ahead and follow me if you like it.
Yeah. It's funny that you can say you're a millennial and and you're calling yourself old, because that's actually true.
I know, it's true.
It's true in the age of the fucking Zoomers, dude.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah.
Age of the Zoomers.
Yeah. So
any TikTokers in chat? F in chat.
any Chinese spyware in the chat? Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
definitely give TarTarBits a follow on, especially on Twitch, because he streams a variety of games. I don't know how often he streams this shit game because he hates it, because he has a brain. But he at least has VODs. You should watch him play. And for all of you listening who have watched Tanner play, watching Tartar play is the same experience. You're going to be honored, humbled, and privileged. He's extremely fucking good at this game, and it's a real fun time. And we've played with him. We've played with him once on stream. We will do that again, and we'll
Absolutely.
We'll be sure to share his POV with you guys soon. So, thank you all for watching. Have an excellent evening, of course. And as always, remember, stay humble.